Modern men aren't dying from bullets. They're not dying from hunger either. They're dying slowly in silence, from losing direction, from living without knowing what they're living for. They're collapsing while still breathing, still smiling, still showing up to work every day. But deep inside, they're rotting. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, didn't write to make you feel good. He wrote to wake you up, to remind you to live right, live aware, and live like a real man. In this video, I'm going to rip the mask off 8 bitter but necessary lessons from Meditations. If you've got the guts to face the truth, don't leave. Your journey starts here. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. Most men live as if the world owes them comfort. They think people should be kind, traffic should be smooth, their boss should recognize their efforts, their girlfriend should understand them without needing to speak. And when reality doesn't meet those expectations, they get frustrated, complain, and play the victim. But here's the truth. The world doesn't give a damn about your expectations. There's nothing wrong when things don't go your way. What's wrong is thinking you ever had the right to expect them to. Marcus Aurelius lived through the blood-soaked years of the Roman Empire. As emperor, he held ultimate power, but he had no delusions about control. The only thing he truly believed he could master was his own mind. You have the power to hold no opinion about a thing, and if you hold no opinion, you are not harmed, he wrote. Sounds simple, but it's a brutal slap of clarity for anyone living at the mercy of other people's behavior. Take a look at your day. How many times did you get angry because of someone else? How often do you let negative emotions hijack your mind over something trivial? Someone says one wrong thing, you're crushed. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you explode. That's not because life is hard. That's because you're weak. You don't control yourself. You're a slave to your emotions. And worse, you think that's normal. Modern men are great at controlling everything, except themselves. They hit the gym, read books, learn skills, but no one teaches them how to control their thoughts. No one shows them how to stay rational when insulted, how to stay silent when provoked, how to stand tall when everything's collapsing. So the moment something goes wrong, they fold. And then they blame everyone else, their parents, society, their girlfriend, their childhood. But they never look at their real enemy, their undisciplined mind. Mastering your thoughts isn't about becoming numb. It's about knowing the difference between what deserves your reaction and what's just garbage you should let pass. Marcus never told you to suppress emotion. He taught this. Only when you can observe emotion without being ruled by it do you become truly strong. That's not some lofty philosophy. That's a survival strategy for a world that will never bend to your will. So next time you feel yourself getting angry, stop. Don't ask, who made me feel this way? Ask instead, what did I allow to take over my mind? That answer will tell you whether you're living like a man or just a shell reacting on autopilot. You can't control the world, but if you can't control yourself, then you control nothing at all. You think you have time. You think youth gives you permission to delay. You live like death is some distant event, as if it'll politely knock and ask, "Are you ready yet?" But no, death doesn't announce itself. It doesn't give you time to fix anything. It shows up like an intruder, abrupt, cold, and completely merciless. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who ruled the most powerful empire on earth at the time, still wrote this as a personal reminder. Soon, you'll be nothing but dust, and soon after, no one will remember who you were. This isn't some gloomy philosophy. It's a bitter pill meant to detox you from the delusion modern men use to lull themselves to sleep. That life is long, that there's still time, that there's always another chance. No, life isn't long. It's so short that if you don't live with purpose right now, you'll vanish like you were never here. Sound harsh? It should, because you need to wake the hell up. You need to realize no one, absolutely no one, is going to remember you just because you lived a good life. So what if you were kind? So what if you were decent? If you don't create something of real value for others, for yourself, for the world, then that so-called meaning of life is just another feel-good illusion. You're not special, and you're not promised immortality. The problem is, most people live like they've got 80 years left to screw around. They let days slip by doing meaningless crap, stuck in chronic procrastination, chasing small goals, running from big fears, and justifying it all with what sound like reasonable excuses. They're scared of failing, scared of pain, scared of looking foolish, but somehow not scared of death. They forget that death is the one guarantee, and worse, it could come at any moment. Now imagine this. If you had 1 week left to live, would you still do what you're doing today? Would you still be scrolling your phone, pretending to be busy, dragging yourself through a soul-crushing job you hate? Or would you start living like every minute might be the last? Marcus didn't need hypotheticals. He lived as if death was stalking him daily, and that's why he didn't waste a second on the meaningless. If you remember nothing else, remember this. No one is coming to rescue you from dying in obscurity. No one's preparing a legacy for you once you're gone, unless you live in a way that forces people to remember. And that doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confronting time's limits head-on. You will die. No exceptions. The only question is, will you die as someone who truly lived, or just a shadow that never really showed up? Choose, and start living like the clock's been ticking, because it is. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. No one likes pain. No one hopes for loss, betrayal, failure, or humiliation. But if you believe those things are wrong, that this shouldn't be happening to me, then congratulations, you're seeing life through the eyes of a child. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who lived through war, plague, and rebellion, didn't have the luxury of avoiding life's darkest moments. But instead of cursing them, he chose acceptance. Not the passive acceptance of a victim, but the mindset of a warrior who understands everything that happens is here to make me stronger. You can hate what's happening, you can think it's unfair, but none of that changes reality. Reality doesn't need your approval. It happens anyway, and you've got two choices. Complain like a victim, or use it as raw material to sharpen yourself. There is no third option. The truth is, you've gone soft. This culture has made you believe happiness is your default right, that you're entitled to an easy life. But Marcus, the emperor and the philosopher, would slap you across the face with this line. The blacksmith doesn't wish for soft metal. He wants it strong enough to endure the fire. The question isn't, why is this happening to me? But who will I become because of this? If you lost your job, that's your chance to reassess your value. If your partner left you, that's a signal you've been overestimating yourself and underdeveloping where it counts. If you're sick, broke, betrayed, crushed by life, that's not your ending. That's your test, and you'll fail it if you keep thinking you didn't deserve it. What happened, happened. How you feel about it changes nothing, but it defines who you are. Marcus didn't waste time wondering why fate was cruel. He stared it down and asked, what kind of man do I need to become to overcome this with honor? You think success is born from peaceful days? No. Success is born from how you respond when everything falls apart. Anyone can look strong when the weather's good. But when the storm hits, that's when you find out if you're truly a man. You don't have to like what's happening, but you do need to be grateful for it. Because without adversity, you'll never grow. Without failure, you'll never know what you're missing. And without rejection, you'll never learn how to stand alone. Stop begging the world to change. Change yourself to be worthy of everything life throws at you. You're not hurt by other people. You're hurt by the way you interpret their words and actions in your own mind. That's the truth most men can't handle, because it leaves no room for blame. It forces you to take full responsibility for your emotions, even when someone else is in the wrong. And that kind of ownership demands a level of maturity not everyone has. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone harms you, it's your fault, because you chose to feel harmed." Sound cold? It is. But it's the coldness of reason, And reason is the only thing that can keep you grounded in the emotional chaos of modern life. Be honest, how many times have you lost your mind because someone said the wrong thing? How often do you get angry because you were misunderstood, criticized, or treated unfairly? But ask yourself, why are you reacting like that? Was the comment actually dangerous, or is your fragile ego just too easy to shatter? Because if you had real strength, you'd know this. People can act like fools, but that doesn't mean you have to respond like one. The weak lash out when insulted. The strong observe, recognize the psychological game being played, and remain composed like nothing happened. Not because they don't feel it, but because they've chosen not to let it touch their core. Do you want to live like a little boy controlled by other people's looks, words, and moods? Or do you want to be the kind of man who remains centered, no matter what anyone says or does? If you choose the second, you have to learn how to cut off the emotional reaction the moment it rises. Notice it, observe it, but don't give it the keys to your behavior. An insult only has power if you give it power. If you accept it as truth, if you react like it matters. But when you understand that every insult says more about the one speaking than the one being spoken to, you stop getting knocked around so easily. You become free. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is not being shaken by things that don't deserve your energy. And there's nothing more pathetic than losing your inner peace over the words of someone who means nothing to your life. If you can't control your response, you're a slave. If you let emotion lead, you're weak. If you lose your direction over one insult, you're not ready to lead anything in life. So next time someone says something that triggers you, pause. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. And that peace, no one can take from you unless you hand it over yourself. Death is guaranteed, yet most men live like they can negotiate with time. They don't live by what they believe is right. They live by what others say is right. They contort themselves to be accepted. They bend to fit society's mold. They become a version the world prefers, while the real self inside them is screaming to be seen. Marcus Aurelius didn't need anyone to call him a good man. He just lived as one. He didn't need validation to be morally right. He simply did what was right and let the silence speak for itself. In Meditations, he wrote, "Don't waste time debating what a good man is. Be one. No noise, no announcements, no need for likes. Ask yourself this: how many things you did today were because you truly believed in them, and how many were just so you wouldn't be judged? Do you dare say what you really think? Do you chase what you actually want? Or are you just echoing what sounds nice, acting how others expect, living a life so safe it makes you sick?" Here's the truth. You weren't born to please the crowd. You don't owe the world a version of yourself that's always polite, agreeable, and nice. You have one job: live in alignment with your highest nature. Not your lazy side, not your weak side, but the side of you that's rational, principled, and willing to take full responsibility. The more you live for approval, the easier you are to control. The more afraid you are of being disliked, the quicker you'll lose your direction. And the worst part? You'll get to the end of your life not even knowing what the hell you lived for. People might call you selfish, weird, cold, or crazy. So what? You weren't born to live by their script. You can't please everyone unless you're willing to become a spineless shadow of a man. And if you want to live fully, you'll have to accept the loneliness that comes with honesty. That's the price of freedom. Don't get it twisted. Living by your nature doesn't mean being reckless. It means knowing what's right and having the courage to live by it, even when the world turns its back. In the end, this world is full of people trying to look right, but far too few with the guts to live real. Which one are you going to be? Have you ever sat down, looked at the calendar, and asked yourself, what have I actually done in the past 6 months? If your answer is still preparing, figuring things out, or waiting for the right opportunity, then the brutal truth is you're not living. You're slowly dying in a well-planned delay. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You love your life, but you're not using it. Act as if you were going to die, because in truth, you are." And he didn't say it to create emotional effect. He said it to wake up those who are lulling themselves with the illusion that there's still plenty of time. The right moment will never come. The opportunity you dream of won't knock on your door, and life will never pause to wait for you to get stable and then start. The more you wait, the more you rot. The more you delay, the more you lose your fight. And one day you'll open your eyes and realize you spent 20 years rehearsing for something that never happened. Look around. How many people are alive but already dead? They go to work, come home, scroll endlessly on their phones, then go to bed, like a soulless loop. They call it normal life. But that's not living. That's silently waiting to die, a form of slow suicide stretched across decades. You don't have to do something grand to be considered alive, but you do have to be intentional. You must know exactly why you wake up every morning. Without a clear reason, you'll live by someone else's design. Without a real goal, you'll be distracted by whatever feels urgent. And if you don't choose action, you've already chosen surrender. Death is not as terrifying as living the wrong way and dying full of regret. The most pitiful man isn't the poor one, but the one who has time and doesn't use it, who has strength but never harnesses it, who has desire but lets it rot while waiting for the right time. Marcus lived as if every day was his final battle. He didn't need motivation, didn't need praise, didn't need perfection. He only needed reason. And reason said, action is the only sign that you're alive. So ask yourself again, are you living today? Or are you just waiting for something? And whatever you're waiting for, is it worth trading your whole life for? You think if things are hard, then you must be doing something wrong? You think if you feel exhausted, doubtful, constantly failing, it means you should quit? If you truly believe that, then congratulations, you've been brainwashed by the world. Marcus Aurelius didn't have social media to preach about resilience. He lived in a time when pain was the default setting of life, and he didn't run from it. He faced it day after day. He wrote, just as a tree needs strong winds to grow deep roots, a man needs adversity to reveal his strength. If life feels too easy, you're probably headed in the wrong direction. Today's generation of men has been fed a toxic idea. If something makes you uncomfortable, avoid it. If something confuses you, stop. If something makes you feel small, back away. And so they spend their whole lives dodging pain, and as a result, never grow up. You don't get a strong body without the pain of training. You don't build a worthy career without years of confusion, failure, even humiliation. You don't develop strength if your life has never pushed you to the edge. If you want life to be comfortable, fine. Just know this. What you get back will always be a watered-down version of who you could have been. Because anything of real value is forged in fire. No exceptions. No shortcuts. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you feel lost. Maybe you've tried and life still punched you in the face. That's not a reason to stop. That's a sign you're on the right path. Because this is the moment where the weak turn back. And you, if you really want to become something of worth, you'll keep walking. Hardship doesn't kill you. It breaks your fake ego so it can rebuild you on solid ground. It drains the arrogance, burns off illusion, and leaves behind someone who knows exactly who they are, what they want, and what it costs. If you want comfort, do something average. If you want meaning, be ready to suffer. The world doesn't owe you ease, but it'll give you everything if you're tough enough not to quit halfway. Marcus never promised you a smooth road, but he left you one question. If not now, if not through this struggle, then when will you finally become a man? Here's the truth. No one owes you a damn thing. Not society, not your parents, not your partner, not your friends. No one, absolutely no one, is required to make you feel better, feel heard, feel understood, or feel happy. If you're living with the expectation that someone is going to heal you, lift you up, or pull you out of the darkness, sorry, but you're writing yourself into a fantasy. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, never lived under the illusion that someone out there was coming to save him. He wrote, "Don't expect the world to be fair. Instead, train yourself to stand strong even when it's not." Because he understood, happiness doesn't come from being served. It comes from knowing exactly who you are and living by that. no matter the circumstances. Today, men are tying their happiness to external things: money, love, career, validation. But all of those things can be taken from you. One job loss, one breakup, one financial blow, and your whole inner world collapses. Why? Because you built it on things you don't control. You feel unloved? Love yourself, fiercely and responsibly. You feel abandoned? Learn to stand alone without breaking. You feel life is unfair? Good. That means you've matured enough to see fairness isn't something you're owed, it's something you create through action. No one is coming to soothe you. No one is coming to understand you. And truth is, they're dealing with their own chaos. You are not the center of the universe. You are not some special victim. You're just one man among millions, and only you are responsible for your life. Happiness is not something to wait for. It's the result of living with purpose, with principle, with discipline, and without begging for pity. You're not happy because someone handed you something. You're happy because you earned it through how you live every damn day. So the next time you feel empty, hurt, or alone, don't look outward. Look inward and ask, have I lived like a man worth respecting? Because in the end, real happiness isn't some fleeting emotion. It's the respect you have for yourself when no one else is around to give it to you. You don't need another gentle piece of advice. You need a slap to your awareness. Marcus Aurelius didn't write to comfort you. He wrote to strip down weakness and point to the only path worth walking. Live with reason, with principle, and with responsibility. If you're suffering, if you feel lost, if you're disappointed in yourself, know this: that's not your excuse to quit. That's your call to wake up. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you happiness. And if you don't stand up on your own, you'll stay on the ground, waiting for a life that will never come. A real man isn't measured by quick success. He's measured by how much he can endure, overcome, and grow from every setback. Marcus lived as if every day was his last. And you? Will you keep delaying, keep complaining, keep blaming? Or will you finally live like someone you would respect? The choice is yours. But remember this: time doesn't wait. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.